Chapter 1. Dogs, dogs, dogs. Everywhere Lizzie Peter looked, she saw dogs. Huge dogs, tiny dogs, curly-haired dogs, long-eared dogs, and dogs with big fluffy tails. There were dogs that barked, ruff, ruff. Dogs that whined, and dogs that ran across the floor with their toenails going click, click, clack, and their mouths widened. Doggy smiles. Lizzie was in heaven. She didn't know which dog to hug first, which one to pat, which one to tell good dog, so she tried to do it all. She hugged a German Shepherd, held out a hand to pat the pushy nose of a white and brown terrier, and said, "Happy birthday, Max," to a black lab who had brought over a stuffed clown to show her. It was Max's birthday today. He was turning two, and Lizzie had been helping him set up a doggy birthday party. "Gee, Lizzie, you sure do love dogs," the woman next to her said. "I sure do," Lizzie said as she grabbed another dog and hugged him. Lizzie smiled back to her Aunt Amanda, the owner of Bowser's backyard. Aunt Amanda was a tall and thin lady with long, beautiful, curly red hair. She didn't look that much at all like Lizzie's dad, even though she was his little sister. Aunt Amanda and her husband, Uncle James, had lived in California for the last 10 years. So Lizzie hardly ever met them except at one family reunion. Of course, Lizzie heard lots of stories about her dog-crazy Auntie Amanda, but she never had a chance to get to know her aunt. That is till Aunt Amanda and Uncle James moved to Littleton. Aunt Amanda opened her dream business, a doggy daycare, and it was far from Lizzie's house. "And dogs love you," her aunt added. "Now, I can see that. You really have a way with animals." Lizzie felt like she might burst from happiness. Coming from Aunt Amanda, that meant a lot. Lizzie had been stopped by Bowser's backyard at least a week since it had opened. It was the first doggy daycare in Littleton. At first, Lizzie wasn't even sure what doggy daycare was. Aunt Amanda explained that it was a place where people could bring their dogs for the day. The dogs can play there all safely and get to know other dogs. Then their owners didn't have to leave them home alone by day. The people, that is, went to work. With the help of her staff, Aunt Amanda cared up for 30 dogs a day, including her very own. She and Uncle James had two adorable pugs named Lionel and Jack, plus a sweet old golden retriever named Bowser. Lizzie had never known a pug before, but as soon as she met Lionel and Jack, she understood why Aunt Amanda was pug crazy, as she called it. The two pugs were little brown bottles of energy with their flat, goofy faces and curly, screwy tails. And they were cuddly, too. They were the cutest, funniest, sweetest dogs Lizzie had ever met. Lizzie liked to talk about dogs. Any kind of dogs. Not just pugs. That honestly sounds a lot like me. With Aunt Amanda. Of course, her aunt already knew all about Lizzie and her family and how they took care about puppies who needed homes. They kept them only until they found the perfect forever home for each one. The Pearsons loved being a foster family. Lizzie also told Aunt Amanda about how she volunteered at the Caring Paws Animal Shelter. One day, Lizzie worked up the courage to ask Aunt Amanda for a job. "I have lots of experience," she said. "I know a lot about dogs, but there's a lot more that I want to learn." Lizzie knew she was still too little for a job. Even a fourth grader like her could be a lot of help when it took care to care to play in a Birdie dogs. I'll do anything, she said. You don't even have to pay me. I just want to be here. And I love having you with me, Aunt Amanda said. You're a big help. How about this? We'll start with one afternoon a week. We'll see how things work out. Maybe you can come more often. From now on Lizzie's very first day, Aunt Amanda was smiling at Lizzie and telling her what a good job she had already been doing. I can see you'll be a good helper, Lizzie. I may even need you to come up with me to Camp Bowser with me one weekend, if we have lots of campers. Camp Bowser? Lizzie couldn't believe her ears. Ever since she'd first heard about Camp Bowser, Lizzie had wanted to go there. What could be more fun than a sleepaway camp for dogs? When Aunt Amanda and Uncle James moved from California, they'd also brought a cabin in the country. Every weekend they took 5 or 6 dogs up to their country place. The dogs could run around a big fencing area, swim in the brook, or even do arts and crafts like kids do at a regular camp. Going to Camp Bowser would be, well, it would be the best thing that ever happened to Lizzie. Well, the best Mexican buddy, Lizzie smiled. She found the little brown puppy who had come to live with her family. The Petersons fostered puppies. Lizzie and her brothers Charles and Adam, whose real name is Adam, had wanted a dog. But Mom and Dad said they weren't really for a full-time dog. The Bean was just a toddler and he just needed lots of attention. Plus, their mom was more of a cat person. Then Buddy came along. The Petersons were caring for 4 dogs at the time. Lizzie had met a mother dog named Skipper and her puppies, Cinnamon, Coco, and Buddy, at the shelter. Cinnamon and Coco, the girl puppies, were very cute, and Lizzie was thrilled when they found forever homes. But it was different with Buddy. Buddy was special. He was a small little guy. The run of his litter, he needed lots of attention and love. Everyone fell in love with Buddy. Lizzie, Charles, the Bean, Dad, and even especially Mom. And when it came to find Buddy a forever home, the Petersons would agree that he would stay right there with them. And now Buddy was part of their family. Buddy had only gotten a little bigger, but he was still the cutest, sweetest pup Lizzie had ever met. She loved his soft, fluffy fur, his silky ears, and she loved to kiss the little light, heart-shaped spot on his chest. Lizzie liked to take for walks to teach him new tricks. His latest was roll over. She just loved laying with him on the couch, patting him like she read a book. Lizzie loved everything about Buddy, but Lizzie could say goodbye to Buddy for a weekend. Like she went to Camp Bowser with Aunt Amanda and Uncle James. Well, as long as she knew he would be waiting there for her when she got back, yes, she could. Wow, she said now to Aunt Amanda. I would love to come to Camp Bowser. Well, we'll see, her aunt said. Right now we have some doggy guests arriving for a party. Want to help me get them settled? Lizzie got to her feet and dusted off her hands. Absolutely, she said. Just then the play area opened. Amanda, they're here, called a woman named Josie. 4 dogs came running into the indoor play area. Where Lizzie and her aunt were laden. A golden retriever that looked like Bowser just walked in slowly, sniffing the air around her. A black and tan mutt ambled along her, shaking his long, droopy ears. A cocoa brown poodle tiptoed along elegantly as he looked one way and the other way. Then zoom! Lizzie laughed as she watched a little brown and black dog blast by the others and scamper around the play area. Sipping from the jungle gym to the slide to the seesaw and back around. It was a pug. He snuffled, snorted, and wagged his little tail. He made 3 circles before he paused to sniff Lizzie's outstretched hand. "Aw," she said, bending to pat the dog's ears. He was really just a puppy. His tan body shivered with joy as he licked her fingers. "Who's this?" she asked Aunt Amanda. Aunt Amanda rolled her eyes and chuckled. "This," she said, "is Pugsley, otherwise known as Mr. Pest."